Doug Gottlieb Show, Fox Sports Radio. Let's get you to Ric Bucher, NBA insider, longtime NBA insider. Was last night more about the Warriors or the Nets?
Oh, I would say it was more about the Warriors, certainly, demonstrating their depth. I think a lot of things went the Nets' way early on. I don't know that Steve Kerr intentionally planned on playing 13 guys in the first half or 11 guys in the first quarter, but ultimately that's how it worked out. But no, I think that the Warriors, because of their start, there are more questions about them. They had a little bit more to prove. Believe that in some ways they did. In some ways it was simply a regular season game. So I would say it's far more about the Warriors. Look, the Nets were missing players, and KD at one point was missing shots. James Harden still looks fat and out of shape, and we still don't have the answer to the Kyrie Irving riddle. So I would say that this had much more to do with the Warriors demonstrating that they are more than what they proved to be against a very soft opening schedule.
Help me out. Why is James Harden still fat?
I don't know. I wish I could tell you. Especially with Kyrie Irving out and presumably James is completely healthy. Can't answer that for you. It doesn't make any sense. But clearly he is out of shape. Clearly he is, in spite of the rule changes, still playing fool the referee in order to score. I thought that was the most stark demonstration in the game, is looking at how KD and Steph were playing and trying to score, which was, I'm just going to try to score the basketball. I'm going to try to score. And James was approaching it like, I am going to try to get free throws. I'm going to try to get to the line. I'm going to try to draw fouls. And it worked probably better last night than it has in some games previously. But clearly, it's not going to work well enough for the Nets to get where they need to go. And I think one of the big drawbacks, particularly against a team and any team that plays up and down, is when you play for the foul and you fall down, the ball's going the other way. Miss or make, it's going the other way. And now it's an automatic 5-on-4. And we saw that repeatedly last night. One of the many reasons why the Warriors were able to cruise to victory.
It's Doug Gottlieb Show here on Fox Sports Radio. Ric Bucher is our guest. Kyrie going to play basketball this year?
Boy, I don't see how, honestly, because I don't see him changing his stance. And I don't see the stance of the NBA or New York changing to make that happen. So my real question at this point is are we going to see him play again? Because if he is saying, I'm not going to play anyplace else, and I don't have any reason to doubt that, then his contract's up at the end of the year. They've decided not to extend him an extension. And even if he did want to play again, I mean, I'm sure somebody's going to want to give him a contract, but what is that contract going to look like? And how many years would you give it? Would you just, without question, give him a max deal? I would think that if he doesn't play this year, and for the reasons that he didn't play and all the uncertainty surrounding him, as vast as his talent is, while I don't agree with Andre Iguodala's take on it, he's an immensely talented player. But if you don't know that you're going to have him available, how much do you invest in that?
You don't. That's why nobody will trade for him, because they don't know if he'll actually ever show up and play.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
why would we?
Yeah.
Why would we do that?
Yeah. And why? And so if he doesn't play this year, and like, what, I don't know what is going to happen that is going to change the circumstance between Kyrie's stand and the mandate and the general approach of the NBA in terms of vaccines and now boosters, etc.
Crazy. Doug Gottlieb Show on Fox Sports Radio. LeBron, it was the ankle. Now it's the ab, right?
Yeah.
Are they just managing how much LeBron plays?
No. I believe that there are legit issues. Now, are they playing it very safe and cautious? Yes, I would expect that. But no, he's always been in prime shape, and he has some pieces that if they have any hope of doing anything in the playoffs, they need to figure out how this is going to work, if it can work. So I don't believe that he's just taking the season off. If he is, it's a terrible idea because the playing with LeBron is unlike playing with anybody else. They have to figure out how they're going to orchestrate this. The other part of it is, I'm not sure that they're appreciably better with LeBron. They're certainly better, and he certainly provides you something that they don't have. But we're so accustomed to him being able to take disparate pieces and make them work. For all of the all-star appearances that this group has, it might be the most difficult team to put together that LeBron has ever faced at a time in his career when he can't do all the things that he could previously. Like, you are asking him to come back at the age 37 and to be an energy guy, to be a defensive guy, to be a playmaker, to be your closer. Like, he has to be all of those things because we're not seeing that coming from anybody else. And to ask him to do that, look, you didn't even ask Chris Paul to do that last year by any stretch of the imagination. So that's where LeBron comes back. Are they better? Yes. Does LeBron do things that they can't get from any place else? Yes. But he's going to have to do them all the time. And to ask him to do that at this stage of his career, I just think is unrealistic.
I tend to agree with you. Doug Gottlieb Show here on Fox Sports Radio. That is the voice of one Ric Bucher. Buch, let's discuss a couple other things. Ben Simmons, where do we stand?
We stand in no man's land. Especially this. This is what was told about a week or so ago, which is told by the NBA head coach that he was really happy, and the league, teams, coaches, executives, we're happy to see the Philadelphia 76ers doing so well because they find Ben Simmons' stand ridiculous. So I immediately thought, wow, if the entire league is rooting for the Philadelphia 76ers to win this standoff with Ben Simmons, then what's the likelihood that anybody in the league is going to make a deal for Ben Simmons and basically allow him to get his way? It already looked like a difficult situation for Daryl Morey. The idea that people around the league are just not have no empathy, sympathy, whatever for Ben Simmons and his position only doubles how difficult that is. So I would say that as of right now, the only way this gets resolved is if Ben at some point decides, okay, I'm tired of them taking my money. I'm tired of being in limbo. I'm going to come back and play for the Philadelphia 76ers. And plays, and I would say that probably opens the door for possibly something happen. But I can't imagine that a trade is going to happen before somebody sees him back on a floor and sees that he's ready and willing to play basketball again.
It's so, there's so many of these issues here. You got Simmons, and this is like a Harden from last year. Then you have the Kyrie thing. And you have some of these other players out with an injury. Kawhi missed the whole year?
I don't believe so. And I believe one of the motivating factors is of how well the Clippers are playing. From what I understand, Kawhi wants to be part of this. They see an opportunity. And the chemistry, this is one thing that Clippers are the same old Clippers, Clippers. This really is a different dynamic, and probably the best indicator of that is how Eric Bledsoe has played. There was a time where the Clippers toxicity and just all the dynamics, you would have seen the worst side of Eric Bledsoe. And instead, you're getting the best side of him. Now, I'm not in love with his game, but I can't help but appreciate the way that he has played for the Clippers. And I believe that is a byproduct of the culture. And I know it's crazy to use that word with the Clippers, but the culture that they have developed with Ty Lue, with Terrence Mann, with Luke Kennard, with the group that they have, that makes it the kind of team that Kawhi Leonard wants to be a part of and sees an opportunity to win a championship if he can get back. Who knows whether they're able to do that? It's a mixed bag, but I believe that's an indicator. To his point, it's why he signed the contract that he did, because it allows him to come back and play rather than if he did a shorter term deal. Then it would mean, well, I got to protect my health because I'm about to go back out on the market. So I believe all of that gives a clear indication of where Kawhi's mindset is.
The Bulls are off to a hot start. I like them.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know where they top out at. What do you've seen the Bulls now for a month? What do you think?
I do like them too. I think they are a middle of. I think they're a playoff team, but who is there? Like to suggest that they're anything more than that they're anything more than what the Knicks were last year in terms of a team that's going to surprise everybody. You don't really know what they're made up of. They don't have any one guy you take out. So during the regular season, they're going to win a lot of games, and they're very motivated collectively to win a lot of games. But you get to the playoffs, you have to have that guy. Who's that guy? DeMar DeRozan? Okay, we've seen that show before. It can only get you so far. Zach LaVine? We've never seen that show before in the playoffs. I love the fact that they got 4 guys who are averaging, 3 or 4 assists. And that's what makes them so dangerous during the regular season. They're sharing the ball. They are looking for ways to win collectively. I think their chemistry is great. Caruso obviously adds to that. But all of those guys, Lonzo Ball, everybody, they're coming in with something to prove. That's always a plus. But in the playoffs, it's just a different animal. Your depth and your versatility, you need the guy that is that poses questions that the other team doesn't have answers to unless they do something extreme, which then opens things up for other guys. I don't know who that guy is that forces teams to double or to game plan specifically to stop that guy. And that's where it's great to see. They're going to be fun to watch all year long. They will be in the playoffs. They could get to the second round, but I just wouldn't put the expectations any higher than that.
Still Gottlieb Show here on Fox Sports Radio. Do the Celtics stand pat?
They might until the off season, but at some point they're going to have to change the equation there. It just doesn't work. You're going to have to make a decision, as hard as it is. You're going to have to make a decision between Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. It's just enough talent to create expectations, but not talent at 2 positions. It's duplicative. They have the same strengths and weaknesses, essentially. And who's orchestrating the whole thing? That's the rub, too, because I'm a big Marcus Smart fan. But if he is the driving force of your team, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown aren't the kind of guys that complement that. It's a really challenging puzzle, and one where the pieces ultimately don't fit for where you want to go.
Doug Gottlieb Show here on Fox Sports Radio. That's the voice of Ric Bucher. It's interesting. I thought, and I still think, this far into the season, the crowds have been back. The games are back. It's been really, really good. Does it level off here, or can we carry that through this entire regular season?
It's a great question. I don't see why not.
But because once you get mid-season, like, oh, God, like, I've even done it. I had friends early in the season that said you should come to a Clipper or Laker game, and now you get to where you're like, if I miss this one, they play the Clippers the next night. If I miss this one, they'll be back. I start making the personal excuses. I just wonder if the mainstream fan does as well.
Yeah, well, the ratings I don't know are like that extraordinary, so I don't think.
Yeah, it's more the feel in the buildings.
I don't think they've showed up yet, right?
Yeah.
The mainstream fan. So look, one, because of how they're officiating the games, I think people appreciate it. The games feel real and a little more physical now, and I think that was missing. And then the other part is, and I think this is what makes it interesting when it comes to people maybe not watching on TV but going to games, is that it's a real mixed bag in both conferences. That there is no team that everybody is gunning for. There are no two teams that you expect to see in the finals. And while that doesn't play well to a mainstream national TV audience, I do believe it gives you the feeling like when in terms of buying a ticket, like I want to go see my team because my team's got a chance of winning tonight. And I want to see those up-and-coming Chicago Bulls. I want to see LaMelo Ball's in town with the Charlotte Hornets. Like, you have enough teams across the board that are interesting or have a selling point that you can get people that want to go out and see it firsthand. They might not go see every game, but they're willing to go and see it at least once in person. And that's where I think the numbers and the reason that you're getting butts in the seats. And then it's just ultimately, I've been to a couple of events now. I went to a fundraiser last Friday, now Boys and Girls Club fundraiser last night, and everybody turned out. And it was much just because you could again. Like, you had everybody in a room having dinner and seeing people. And I feel like there's an energy behind wanting to have some experience of normalcy again.
Yeah, I think people are really enjoyed it to begin with, and I do think the game is a better product than it was when they last checked in. I just wonder if they get beaten down by the number of games. We'll see, and they're all on TV and all that stuff. Buke, great stuff. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll talk to you soon.
Always a pleasure, Doug. Thanks.
That's my man, Ric Bucher, who's joining us on the Doug Gottlieb Show on Fox Sports Radio.